so I feel like this footage needs just the tiniest bit of context. My name's Ed, and this is me on an Arizonan highway about 800 miles into my unicycle crossing of the USA. I'd recently twisted my ankle and was quickly becoming frustrated because I just couldn't seem to get on. And I realised that if you're totally new to my videos, this information probably creates more questions than it actually answers. So, as I try and fail once more to mount, please allow me to fill you in from the very beginning. In search of adventure, I left my home in 2015, attempting to become the first person to unicycle around the world. As a naive, fresh-faced 19-year-old, I had no idea that my planned 1.5-year trip would ultimately take me 3 years to complete. After leaving the UK, I successfully crossed Europe to Azerbaijan and across the Caspian Sea by freight ship to Kazakhstan. I found the Central Asian winter to be a little bit too extreme for unicycle touring, so I paused my ride for a few months in Bishkek. Once the warmth returned, I continued my mission and found myself riding through China with a chap dressed as a superhero. Southwards, I continued my Asian leg to the southern tip of Singapore, pushed my wheel to the water's edge, and jumped on a plane to Australia. With my single wheel, I battled through the desolate Nullarbor Plain, had a quick chat with Mark Beaumont, reached Sydney, dunked my wheel in the harbour, and flew across the Tasman to New Zealand. I made my way north through the gorgeous Kiwi countryside to find myself pedalling the final few miles of the country with a Swiss lady called Magali, along what's dubbed the 90-mile beach. We arrived triumphant at Cape Reinga Lighthouse, the very tippy top of New Zealand, and this, chronologically, is where you saw me last. Spoiler alert, I completed my World Unicycle Tour in July 2018. Since returning to the UK, I've spent my time sharing my stories on stage and completing the editing that I didn't have time for while on the road. I started first with the Southeast Asian series, and have now finally completed the American videos, the first of which you are watching right now. These videos will be released weekly here on YouTube, but if you just can't wait to see what I got up to in the States, this entire series is available to view right now on Vimeo. You'll find the link to this down in the description, and please note that the funds I raise through sales will go towards future adventures. Yes, I do have future trips planned. Your support is seriously appreciated. Okay, so I'd say you're pretty much caught up. With just 4,000 miles left to ride, we begin this final continent and final video series in California, just off the plane from New Zealand. Please enjoy Ed Unicycles the USA. Got some pretty great news. I'm on North American soil right now. That's really exciting, and I'm going to start my ride across America from San Francisco. So I'm here, I made it. I made it. Unfortunately, my unicycle didn't. Unbeknownst to me, my unicycle was still at LAX, being checked by the Transport Security Administration. When it did finally arrive off the next plane an hour later, the box was looking concerningly worse for wear. Okay. So it seems the buggers of the TSA have gone and nicked my fuel bottle and fuel pump. I'm hoping that's the only thing they nicked, because it's not all that reassuring when people can just reach into your bag and just pull out whatever they want and bin it. This was a frustrating welcome to the US for sure, but I tried to put it behind me as there are certainly more challenging places to replace kit than California. Moving on, I focused on finding Ben. I'm waiting for a guy called Ben. He's a cycle tourer, he's come across me online, and he said when I get to California, I should look him up and I can stay with him and his wife. How's it going?
How are you?
I feel like I know you, I've been watching some of your videos.
No, it's good to see you, man.
Ben and his wife Amber had cycled from China to Oman, making videos about their travels along the way. Hearing that I was coming to town, they kindly offered me a bed at their home in Cupertino.
We started following your trip about a year ago when you were in Kazakhstan and started watching your movies.
Yeah.
And you partially inspired us to go do our ride through Central Asia. So we returned in January, heard you were coming to San Francisco area, and we were keen to share some travel stories and always help another traveler out and live vicariously through your continued travel spirit as we get stuck working at the computer all day long.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny when we were in China, there was this huge truck that was trying to go underneath this like power line, and the truck was much higher than the power line, so this man was sitting on top of the truck and he lifted up the power line with his hands so the truck could go underneath it.
That was pretty wild. Only in China would that kind of thing happen.
Yeah, you wouldn't see it on the street here, would you?
No way.
Please go and check out Amber and Ben's vids. They're a lot of fun to watch. Alright, so I've made it to the States. but I wasn't planning to start my ride across the US just yet. In fact, I had a whole heap of jobs that I needed to do before I could even think about heading eastwards. First was to edit the entirety of the New Zealand videos. No small task, and knowing just how long video editing takes, Ben and Amber kindly offered me a bed for 3 weeks while I worked on this series. I also needed to order and wait for a new fuel bottle and pump to arrive. Thank you, TSA, for that. And another pretty crucial piece of kit that needed replacing was my Sony a6000 camera, because, if you don't remember, I had a bit of a mishap in New Zealand, with my previous one deciding to go for a swim. This camera just fell over in the sea. Oh no! Oh no! I just got started searching around the San Fran Craigslist for a second-hand replacement when a chap called Brandon got in touch on Facebook with a ridiculously generous offer.
Hey Brandon, are you there?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Would you mind just explaining what you've offered to do?
Yeah, so I was actually kind of chuckling when you had posted that you dropped yours in the mud or whatever. Oh wait, no, it got hit by a wave.
That was it.
And so I thought, oh crazy, that's the same camera I have. And I thought, well, I'm not using mine, so might as well.
A few days later, a package arrived for me in the post. It still blows my mind just how generous people have been to me during this ride. Thank you again, Brandon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of my videos shot with your camera. It was around this time that I noticed my hair was getting a bit out of control, so with a pair of kitchen scissors, I set about removing my mop. With the money that Brandon had saved me, I decided to invest back into these videos in an attempt to make this final series the best I possibly could. Today is quite exciting. Today I'm about to see a man about a drone. I want to quickly interrupt this video by saying a massive thank you to all my new patrons. They are on the screen right now. And I want to say a special thank you to Elijah Legender, Mark Paris, Kelly Jackson, and Michal Dabski. Thank you very much. Woo. Alright, so I'm down in Hammam Park. Kevin said it'd be about 20 minutes. Have you crashed it yet?
I have not. I've been scared though.
Oh, that's good.
About it. I thought I'd use it, but I don't use it like as often as I thought I'd do.
After Kevin gave me a quick rundown on how the drone worked, I paid him and became the proud new owner of the tiny DJI Spark. Just one more piece of kit to weigh down my already ridiculously heavy unicycle. Speaking about my unicycle, it also needs a bit of attention. Ever since riding across New Zealand's 90-mile beach, it had been making a concerning clicking noise. I rode to the nearest bike shop, Calabasas, and met Rob, who asked me to leave the uni with him for the night. The next morning, to save me walking the 3 miles back to the shop, I borrowed Amber's bike, and Amber, to go and collect it.
So currently I'm sitting on the back of my bike, and Ed is riding my bike.
Hey up. Back at the bike shop, Robert decided that it was the bearings making that noise, so we set about swapping those out.
Hopefully we're successful and he'll make it along his path and have a great rest of his trip. Cheers, Rob. You're welcome.
And with that annoying click in my bearing eliminated, I was just about ready to begin my ride across the states. But first, let me share with you my planned route. As always, it was pretty rough, but the basic idea was to start at the Golden Gate Bridge, head down the west coast for 100 miles or so, and then cut inland to Bakersfield. Onwards through Death Valley to reach Las Vegas. Gamble a little bit there, and then it's eastwards to Arizona, following Route 66 for a while. Then New Mexico and Texas, and from here it gets super loose, but basically through the southern states, and up to the finish in New York City. Oh my lord, knocking the tripod over. As you can see, this route is super rough, but that's the way I like it. I like things to be quite loose. I like not to have much of a plan, but yeah, very excited to start the ride, and to start my crossing of the final continent of this World Unicycle Tour. Very exciting. Alright, so with my route kind of mapped out, I was finally ready. All I needed to do now was get myself down to the Golden Gate Bridge and begin my 5-month, 4,000-mile unicycle crossing of the United States of America. But to see this, you'll have to come back next time. If you're feeling impatient and can't wait for next week's video, you're in luck, because the next episode is available right now on my Patreon. And if you're feeling really impatient, you can head over to Vimeo and watch the entire Ed Unicycles the USA series from start to finish over there. Your support is greatly appreciated.
Well, this old thing ain't built for speed, but I love my trusty dusty steed. It'll get me around the world soon, and I'll try a full moon. I know my route is roundabout, but I sure as hell don't have a doubt. It'll get me where I'm going, as long as the wind is blowing. I'm well aware of dangers out there, and it's not that I don't